On this episode of On Two Wheels, we're going adventure touring.
In the Alps!
This is Motorcyclist Test Ride in conjunction with Edelweiss Bike Travel. We brought along 10 lucky readers, gathered 8 exciting adventure touring motorcycles, and we're spending the next 5 days riding through 4 countries.
It's morning, day 1 of our 5-day Edelweiss tour. Edelweiss Bike Travel is the world's oldest motorcycle travel provider, and they've combined the best routes in the Alps to create the ultimate test ride. Our journey begins in Seefeld, Austria, at the northern edge of the Alps. Before us is a fleet of brand new adventure bikes that we have the pleasure of flogging for the next 5 days. The team gathers following breakfast for a briefing led by veteran Edelweiss guide Christian Preining. He plots our route and briefs us on some of the local history before we head out. Edelweiss has just renewed their fleet, providing us with new or updated machines to ride. This week, we have 8 motorcycles to test. Triumph's Explorer XC, the Ducati Multistrada S Touring, KTM's new 1190 Adventure and Adventure R models, BMW's all-new water-cooled R1200 GS, Yamaha's Super Tenere, and the Honda Cross Tour, which isn't offered in America. And, for comparison's sake, there's also a 2012 BMW R1200 GS, the reigning champ of the adventure touring category. The first leg of our tour takes us north from Seefeld, passing into Germany briefly before returning to Austria to ride through the Namlos Valley and over the Hottenjoch Pass to our lunch spot in Holzheim, where we get our first taste of traditional schnitzel and our first opportunity to discuss the bikes.
The Honda, nobody here loved the Honda, but I like it.
I liked it. I like the shifting with the fingers.
The shifting in the finger, and when you push it down.
Everyone loves a V4.
It's a V4?
V4 engine, yeah.
Oh, that's why I like it.
That's why you like it. Yeah, the sound and the power is always very good. Honda's Cross Tour is a European-only adventure bike based on the VFR 1200, but with a retuned engine, revised bodywork, and a more upright riding position. Like the VFR, the Cross Tour is available with Honda's dual-clutch transmission, allowing completely automatic operation or manual shifting via paddles next to the left grip.
I really wanted to like the Yamaha. Unfortunately, it just wasn't quite there.
Yamaha's Super Tenere is the most affordable option here, but it definitely lacks the features and sophistication of the other bikes. The motor feels slow, the brakes lack power, and the handling just doesn't stack up.
If I would have ridden it out of a dealer's showroom, I probably would have thought it was a great bike. Riding the other bikes back to back with it, it doesn't quite make the grade along with the rest of the bikes.
The Yamaha didn't stir anyone's emotions, but many of the other bikes did.
The Ducati, the Multistrada, I was very excited to drive. You know, it's a difficult bike to ride, but it's just raw power. Snap the throttle and the thing just goes.
The Multistrada's sporty feel comes by way of a narrow, taut chassis and a Superbike-derived Testastrada V-twin engine that puts down a claimed 150 horsepower. This is a highly tuned, high-strung adventure bike.
It's tough though. The KTM is pretty sporty too. KTM was just a blast.
The clutch, the gearbox, that were just silky. They were the best clutch and gearbox out of the batch. And then the handling was easy, and you could change lines mid-corner at will. Nothing came out to bite you either.
Like the Multistrada, the KTM Adventure and more off-road oriented R model are powered by a big bore V-twin, this one pulled from KTM's RC8R Superbike. KTM is renowned for their off-road machines, so it's not surprising that the Adventures function and feel like oversized dirt bikes.
Would you feel comfortable taking any of these bikes off-road?
Definitely the KTM, no problem. Not the Ducati. Pretty much the BMW and the KTM, yeah. Everything else, they're just too compromised. They're really street bikes in disguise.
It's early in the tour, but the Alps are an excellent testing ground, and certain bikes are already beginning to stand out. This is Italy's Stelvio Pass, the most epic pass in the Alps. 48 switchbacks climb to an 8,800-foot summit.
When I saw the photograph on the folder, I said, oh, amazing, I have to go.
Stelvio is a bucket list road for motorcyclists, bicyclists, and drivers from all over Europe and around the world. Switchbacks and straightaways. That pretty much sums up Stelvio. Strong acceleration, powerful brakes, and excellent slow-speed steering are the key to a quick ascent. And the best way to celebrate the climb is with a warm apple strudel at the summit.
Coming up the Stelvio or some of the other tight passes with the tight switchbacks, the KTM and the Ducati just absolutely hooked those corners, and you could drive out of them with total confidence.
The Ducati instills confidence thanks to its new Skyhook electronic suspension, which monitors throttle position, brake application, and many other parameters to automatically adjust damping as you ride. The roads in the Alps are universally excellent, with good pavement and a twisting, technical layout that constantly tests both rider and bike. Stelvio may be the most famous, but it's just one of literally dozens of incredible passes. From Stelvio, we make our way through the Italian Alps, passing through luscious green valleys and over snowy mountain summits like Passo di Gavia, where snowbanks and pale blue glacial ponds border the narrow, rugged road. The scenery is stunning, nearly to the point of being distracting, but our attention remained on the roads and the bike's performance. Our group is composed entirely of experienced and enthusiastic riders, and the pace was often quite quick.
We just had a blast just shredding these Alps to pieces. Man, I mean, we were just 70% throttle or better so much of the time.
All that time at full throttle has its consequences. We didn't get any speeding tickets, but we did lose 2 of our GoPros off a bike. Luckily, miraculously, we found both cameras, recovering our precious Stelvio footage. The pace is set by the group leader, and our guide Christian, a former 250 motocross world champion competitor and Isle of Man racer, was one fast dude. Christian taught us the riding etiquette of the Alps, offering advice on line selection and passing, and explaining the many nuances of navigating these unique and demanding roads.
It's the first time I've ever literally had the courage to ride 10/10ths on the street. Normally I wouldn't even say courage, that's stupid if you don't know what you're doing, but you have complete faith in his guidance.
High speeds and tight roads highlight a bike's handling, and Triumph's Explorer feels like the biggest bike due to its high center of gravity, huge tank, and wide bars.
It has a great exhaust note, a little bit lacking in some of the other areas. It's fairly comfortable, it's a little buzzy. I was a little disappointed with that. I was hoping it would be just a touch better than that.
Not everyone liked the bike's handling, but its 1215cc inline triple engine was a favorite.
It's got that nice smooth engine character, just the torque band is just like butter.
For me, I think my favorite bike would be the Adventure R. It just did everything I wanted it to without requiring any additional feedback from me. I didn't have to change my riding style. It's just the only downside to it was the engine heat.
KTM offers its all-new adventure bikes in 2 flavors. The base Adventure is more street-biased, with a 19-inch front tire and electronically adjustable suspension that's optimized for street use. The R model bike has taller suspension, revised steering geometry, and a larger 21-inch front wheel for enhanced off-road capability. Although we did very little off-roading, the taller R bike was the preferred model among our testers due to its more precise front end feel.
I hadn't really ever thought of these bikes seriously, but after riding this week, it's actually changed my impression of them a lot. They're much more sporty than I thought. The combination of that sportiness and the upright seating position and all the bells and whistles that are on them, I could actually see trading in my K1200 and getting one of these now.
BMW's R1200 GS has dominated the adventure touring category for decades. This year's bike has a more powerful water-cooled engine and BMW's game-changing dynamic electronic suspension. This suspension system automatically adjusts the damping rates to suit riding conditions. It's essentially a magic bullet that makes the bike feel totally planted and smooth in every situation.
It's like heaven. Everything you want is right there. The power, the comfort, the selection of controls on there, the things you can fiddle with. It just feels right everywhere. It really hides its weight well.
Ducati has similar technology on the Multistrada, but the GS's system works better thanks to the inherent characteristics of its telelever front suspension and paralever rear suspension. The previous GS was good, but the new bike is significantly better.
It's heads and shoulders the best about anything we've done here.
It just did everything well. It just gave you confidence everywhere you went. Big brakes, big power.
In Brazil, it's very, very expensive. I have to work a lot to put together more money to buy those.
The beauty of the Alps cannot be overstated. From the smooth, verdant hillsides of Austria to the jagged limestone spires of the Italian Dolomites, the Alps will absolutely blow your mind.
This is just one epic pass after another. Every time you think it can't get any better, it does.
Laid over this amazing terrain are some of the most enticing roads on the planet.
Oh, the roads. We could learn a lot back home from the roads here. They're just really very, very smooth, very, very clean, not a lot of grit, considering there's Alps crumbling all around you. They really take care of the roads here.
Hats off to the engineers that created such awesome roads. If they couldn't carve a path up a mountain, they tunneled right through it. We rode through miles of tunnels, at one point crossing an international border mid-mountain. We couldn't have asked for a better testing ground for these bikes. Everyone had a blast and came away with a deep understanding of each bike's strengths and weaknesses. Being able to ride these machines back to back for days on end in an environment like this was priceless.
Well, this was a trip of a lifetime for us. We've been talking about this since we started dating over 30 years ago, and always wanted to come here, always wanted to ride motorcycles in the Alps.
This was a dream come true.
Yeah.
Here we are back in Seefeld, Austria, where we started 5 days ago. We're literally fresh off the bikes.
Yeah, this has been an incredible trip. Over 1,000 miles, 4 countries, 5 days, 8 awesome motorcycles. It's been a fantastic adventure, but it's also been a test.
But this wasn't a typical comparison test. Instead of gathering the data ourselves, we brought 10 readers with us to the Alps to give us their unfiltered, real-world opinions on what makes these bikes great. We started with 8 bikes, but even by the end of the first day, it was clear that 3 of them had risen to the top.
Absolutely. Ducati's Multistrada is undeniably the sport bike of the bunch. This thing is crazy powerful, but it wants to be ridden hard and fast.
Not surprisingly, KTM's all-new 1190 Adventure is the dirt bike of the bunch. It feels like a dirt bike as soon as you get on it. Really light, really responsive, and a lot of fun to ride in the technical stuff.
But the bike that combines both those attributes and so much more has got to be BMW's 2013 R1200 GS.
This bike is all new this year, liquid-cooled boxer engine for the first time. It's smoother, more powerful, and more responsive than ever before.
And this bike handles any road. I mean, it rails. And that's because BMW has updated its unique chassis with dynamic electronic suspension that automatically adjusts to any surface.
Doesn't matter if you're looking for a sport bike, a dirt bike, a touring bike, or a good urban commuter, BMW's GS really excels in any condition.
Thanks for tagging along with us through the Alps. Of course, a big thanks to Edelweiss Bike Travel for putting together an amazing trip, and also a thanks to our readers for helping us do our job. Check back next time.
I'm Dan Watson. I'm from Denver, Colorado.
I'm Heidi Gish. I'm from Shingle Springs, California.
Steve Gish, Shingle Springs, California.
Dave Plannert from Abbotsford, BC, Canada.
And Ruth Plannert from Abbotsford, BC.
My name's Jeremy Piner. I'm from Napa, California.
My name is Mike Harris. I'm living just outside of Philadelphia in Westchester, but I was actually born in Canada, so I've been in the States now since '97.
My name is Daniel Deeb, 46 years old, and I live in Carver, Minnesota.
My name is Tony Deeb. I'm 44 and I live in Lomita, California.
Augusto Filadelfo, Rio de Janeiro, Brasil.
Thank you. All right.
In Portuguese, I can say Augusto Filadelfo, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Oh man.
If you prefer.